At this point, Hasbro apparently seems to be reissuing everything. Maybe they can reissue you some dignity because clearly you lost that a long time ago when you decided to play with action figures as a grown dude, okay? I'm totally kidding, and nobody can give you your dignity back. That's long gone. Anyways, all jokes aside, let's get straight into today's video because I did want to cover some pretty interesting action figure news over the past couple of days. I've been kind of running a little bit thin on news, so I decided to go back, and if you guys noticed my last couple of videos, they were mostly just kind of looking back at some collectibles that have garnered quite a bit of value over the past few years, and then we actually did take a look at some AliExpress knockoff action figures. So it's nice to get just kind of like a refresh, get bombarded with a ton of different collectibles, because that's what it's all about. We love action figures, we want more of them, and we finally get an opportunity to pre-order some really expensive plastic. So let's get straight into it. First off, I did want to talk about some of these Hasbro reissues. We've been seeing a ton of them over the past couple of weeks, and honestly, it's kind of exciting as a collector. Some of these I did not pick up originally, so I may get an opportunity to pick up some of these, but in other cases, maybe you want like an extra one in packaging to hang on your wall or something like that. It's giving everybody a second chance at some of these figures. Although I will say, and I mentioned this in a previous video, not everything is kosher, okay? Sometimes when they decide to reissue a figure that is like 5 to 6 years old, it really gets under my skin. I think there's a fine line there. There's a balance. If you want to reissue something that's really scarce and hard to find, that's only like a year or two old, that's totally cool because the technology isn't that outdated. But when they're reissuing or re-releasing some figures that are like 5 to 6 years old, they have like awful articulation and just like horrendous sculpt work, you definitely don't want to be reissuing those. In this particular case, you have, for example, the Power Princess action figure. This is from the Void Build-A-Figure wave. Interestingly enough, I think it's worth mentioning that this is a part of a Build-A-Figure wave, so I wonder if they're going to reissue all of the other figures from that particular wave. Otherwise, it's just releasing way more of those particular Build-A-Figure pieces than need to be out there, I guess. Like, there's going to be just a ton of people with extra Build-A-Figure pieces, so it seems kind of like a waste. I would have probably just reissued this in like a retro card or something like that, but you will get an opportunity to pick this figure up. You will get I think it's like a sword, a shield, and then a couple of extra hands. It does have some of the most modern articulation for a female action figure from Hasbro, and I think that's really cool. It's not like super old. It's only like a couple of years old, and so it still has some of the newer tech. I think it's like pinless all around, thigh cut. I think it has a double ab crunch, which is something rare for female body molds. At least at the time, it was like kind of groundbreaking. And if I do remember correctly, this figure was actually reselling for a ton of money. And interestingly enough, it has already sold out from multiple different retailers. So I think Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth are completely sold out on her. But if those got a reissue, I'm assuming that maybe Walmart and Amazon and Target get a little bit of a restock. Only time will tell. But this is a great figure. I remember when this first came out, people actually had this in their top 10 action figures of the entire year. So it just goes to show how much love people had for this character, and to see her now reissued is really nice from Hasbro. I actually do appreciate this reissue. They also decided to reissue the 85th anniversary Warbird action figure. Again, I'm not going to get too deep into it. This is a reissue. We've already seen her before. It comes with 4 hands total, 2 separate head sculpts, and a couple of different really cool effect pieces. This figure, same thing, was considered to be one of the best female body molds that we had ever seen before. It does have some of the newer tech. I don't think that this is like the brand newest female body mold, because I think there's supposed to be one on the way that is like the end-all version for female action figures moving forward, but still, it's one of the more modern body molds. Really great articulation, really great tech all around. This one as well garnered quite a bit of a following on the secondary market. If I'm not mistaken, it was reaching heights of like $60 to $70. Not quite as expensive as our previous action figure on today's video, but still, it was garnering a ton of resale value. So Hasbro decided, why not? We'll reissue it, people will want it. This one is actually still available through multiple different resellers. So there's demand, but not like a crazy amount. So if you're still on the fence about it, if you're wondering whether you should pick it up, you still have a little bit of time. Next up, they also decided to reissue their Obsidian Marvel Legends Silver Surfer action figure. This one does come with a couple of extra hands, a couple of extra blast effect pieces, and then is that Mjolnir in his hand? I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it is. Anyways, this figure is another one of those weird reissues. I think the first two are kind of understandable, but I'm taking a closer look at that body mold. That is like a really ancient body mold at this point. Like the butterfly joints really don't have a great range of motion. The cuts are not deep enough, so he can't really articulate his arms forwards or backwards very well. And then there is the single hinge at the ab. So this is, like I said, a really outdated body mold, outdated tech. This is a great example of Hasbro double dipping when they don't really need to. They could have easily just gone and used one of the newer pinless body molds with all the extra cuts, all the extra articulation. It just makes absolutely no sense to me. I know somebody mentioned this in the comment section not too long ago about how Silver Surfer was being reissued and re-released pretty consistently. As I mentioned, I have no problem with reissues or re-releases, but there's a line there. If you're starting to reissue figures that are just completely outdated and ancient at this point, it makes absolutely no sense. This is one of those figures that I think desperately needs an upgrade, and they could have easily done like a reissue or a re-release in a retro card and then maybe used one of the newer bucks. Just throwing it out there, okay? There's no need to get upset over it. I'm just not very happy about the Silver Surfer being reissued. The other two, I'm pleasantly surprised at. I did not expect these to be reissued, but they're always welcomed additions, and I think new collectors are definitely going to be happy over this. I also wanted to give you guys a quick heads up on a new 3-0 action figure. Over the past couple of months, I have started to cover them more consistently, and I've been pleasantly surprised. They've released some absolute bangers, and today is no different. If you're a huge fan of the Mega Man franchise, then here you go. We are getting a new Proto Man. He will come with 8 hands total, his little shield, a blast effect piece, a removable blaster, and then interchangeable scarf pieces. And I know what most of you guys are thinking. This is mostly just a reuse of the original Mega Man, but I think it's subtle enough where most people won't really pay too much attention to that. I think they're just going to retool the original Mega Man action figure as many times as they possibly can to potentially have some new releases later down the line. It's also worth mentioning he does come with some magnet pieces under his legs or under his feet. That way you can kind of display him on flat surfaces or hanging upside down or like on a wall or something along those lines. It really gives you an option when it comes down to posing him. And I've said this before, but I'll mention it yet again. The articulation here is just so smooth. It's so seamless. In certain poses, you can't even see some of the joints. I actually took a closer look at the knee joints for this figure, and I'm kind of curious to see how they articulate and how they actually look up close and in person, because in the promotional images, they appear to be doing a really good job of articulating. I'm not sure if it's like a double pinless joint, but it looks great. He also does have some butterfly joints and a cut at the mid torso, which I'm assuming is just some sort of like ball joint, but the figure does appear to get into some pretty crazy poses, and I'm actually pleasantly surprised from this manufacturer. Every time that I feel like I kind of know what to expect or know what kind of action figures they manufacture, they throw a little bit of a curveball like this. I've only been following their Mega Man action figure line as of like maybe a couple of months, so I'm not sure if prior to that they had been working on it and this is or if this is something new that they just barely jumped on. But I've already mentioned a lot of Iron Man suits that they've worked on. They've done a Black Panther in the past, obviously a few different Mega Man action figures, so it's nice to see them continuing to flesh out their roster. On a side note, a lot of their collectibles do have things like magnets, light up features, and some of them even have like PVC style material, so it's kind of like die cast metals being mixed in with their figures, and it's not something that you usually see. It's It's not something common in the action figure community, so I think they're standing out and they're kind of cementing their place in the action figure universe. So I definitely suggest, if you guys are looking for something a little bit different, something out of the ordinary, I think this will be right up your wheelhouse. On a side note, make sure to stay tuned and up to date with action figure news, just because there are some killer deals happening out there in the wild. Like, I think Ross is already starting to stock up Burlington stores. I think Ollie around, well, I don't have an Ollie around here, but I continue hearing that Ollie's already starting to receive brand new shipments. And then Big Bad Toy Store has had like insane clearance deals. Action figures clearance as much as like 70 to 75 to 80% off, which is absolutely unheard of. Entertainment Earth has had some deals happening. I think even Target a couple of days ago had some pretty killer deals where they were slashing even some of the Gamerverse 2 packs figures. So make sure you stay up to date on that. This is the time of the year when you're going to get some crazy holiday deals, because they want to get rid of the inventory that they have at the moment and then get the new inventory or the new stock that is supposed to be incoming ready on store shelves. So make sure to stay tuned. Make sure to stay up to date with all of that stuff. I think Big Bad Toy Store has been having daily deals, so make sure you check them on a daily basis, because as I mentioned, there are new deals every single day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to stay tuned, because as I mentioned, we do upload action figure content on a daily basis. I really just wanted to take a quick second here to thank everybody that has been supporting us. We've definitely felt the love over the past month or so. Viewership has gone up, and that really just showcases that you guys are enjoying the content, and it motivates us to make even more content. Thank you guys. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys in the next one.